Good morning and hello from Browns Bay. It's Friday and I think it's the 29th of May, and it's a long weekend coming up, which I'm sure you'll be very pleased to hear about. We're going to be away, and interestingly enough, we're going away when our local churches are able to open up for the first time in 2 months, provided that we have less than 100 people and all the other things are put in place, which we've done. And the team down at Browns Bay Presby are going to do that on Sunday. And I'll be up in Pai here with my family, and we'll be at the Uniting Church there and catch up with some of the folk we've got to know there who are a real blessing. They haven't had anything during this time. They haven't had online services, and so this is a very special first meeting in 2 months. Behind me you'll see a picture of the oldest Presbyterian church in Australia. Places of worship are interesting, aren't they? We got married in one where we had kind of grown up as teenagers at Greyville Presbyterian, and it was quite an impressive building, and very high arches and pillars and what have you, and a pipe organ, and people still marvel at the place and talk about its beauty. Back in Wellington, when we came here, we were at All Saints Hataitai, a red brick building, also very beautiful. All of those places have their history, they have their issues and complications. In Hataitai in Wellington, earthquake problems meant that was no longer able to be used, and they had to adapt. Here in Browns Bay, our church is quite different. It's a very user-friendly kind of square building with large concrete-type brick walls, and a roof that seems to have been popped on and supported by two pillars or struts, which block the view of the people sitting in the middle of the church. So they have to kind of look on either side of the one strut to see what's going on. That building is some 55 years old as well. So I suppose it was ahead of its time in its own way, as a multi-purpose building. And having chairs you can move around are very useful. Church buildings are designed in peculiar ways. I used to joke that why would you go to church when the best you can see is the back of people's heads? So what's the focal point of the church building? Up front you get these symbols, you get a lectern, a pulpit. If I move out the way, you'll see the pulpit in the middle, and the communion table, and the flower stand, and some flags. Good British flag and Australian flag back there. Some modern churches have all kinds of international flags indicating their mission fields. Some are decorated beautifully. Others are more austere, like the old Presbyterian drab grey buildings after the Reformation, which kind of beat the colour and the art out of church designs. In this whole process, I've not talked about this building in Browns Bay, not the one behind me, but the one in Browns Bay. I've not talked about it as a church, but simply meeting in Anzac Road, because theologically that's exactly what it is. It's a building, and the church has been meeting. We've been meeting digitally, electronically, if you like, in a virtual kind of fashion, which has been quite nice too. We've been able to see each other, or at least parts of each other. You don't see everything on Zoom, although sometimes people do strange things and then you see more than you want to. But we've had the connection, and we've been linked spiritually. And the body of Christ is that. It's a spiritual body, and we are baptized into Christ, and we are part of him, and he is the head. And so the debate that's been going on about whether people should meet or not, and some have been very precious and saying, oh, it's too dangerous, and we're waiting until the end of June, and people get very anxious about things that in New Zealand certainly are not the kind of problem that there are in the rest of the world, with 8 cases of coronavirus at the moment, 22 deaths, 11 of which were in a rest home. And most people have recovered of the 1,502 that got the virus. Now, I'm not saying it won't come back, or that we should be stupid, or that the things we put in place are not important. But when I think about the things that we argue about, if it wasn't should we meet or shouldn't we, and the pastor would have been some theological nicety, or, as I think they once said during the Russian Revolution, I think the story was, whether it's true or not, it makes the point that the church was debating the colour of liturgical vestments during the revolution. We can miss the point of a lot of the things that matter in these crises, and I think this coronavirus COVID-19 story has made us focus on a lot of really valuable things: the importance of people, looking out for those who are alone and isolated, making sure that everybody gets a fair deal, at least has food on the table, and in some places that's an awful challenge at the moment, where millions of people are hungry. And as I said the other day, ordinary people step up to feed them because there are not enough programs. And perhaps that's what it should be like, really, that the ordinary person makes a difference where they live. So what do we do this weekend? We are thankful for progress. We remember those who still can't meet, and be grateful where we can meet, but remember again those who won't be there because of health reasons or age, or health frailty of some sort. Continue to look out for each other, focus on the real needs of people, and feed the poor and hungry, clothe the naked, visit the prisoners. All those things are still part of the Matthew 25 scenario of the separation of the sheep and the goats, which focuses on the key issue. We do it for Jesus. Whatever we do for the least of his brothers, we do unto him. Whatever we don't do to him. He feels the pain, and he experiences the blessing of Christian people who get it right, who actually do the things that they're supposed to do. Paul on the road to Damascus is an interesting example of how Jesus and the church are so closely intertwined. When Paul is struck down, he hears a voice saying, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?" And of course Jesus is identifying with the body of Christ, the Christians who have been locked up and arrested after the martyrdom of Stephen, the first Christian martyr, whose death Paul witnessed and approved of, and that makes his story even more wonderful, as you see the impact that he's had through the writing of the New Testament, and the impact of his story on people throughout the ages. So if you're meeting or if you're not meeting this weekend, it doesn't really matter, as long as you are recognizing on the Lord's Day the central place of Jesus and the wonderful thing that he's done for us, and the opportunity that we have to give thanks to him, and to praise his name, and to share around his word in whichever way we do that, whether it's online or individually or as a group, and to remind ourselves of the meaning that he gives our lives and the mission that we have to reach the world with his love. So have a lovely long weekend if you're going away. Happy Queen's birthday weekend for those of us in New Zealand. And if you're getting together for the first time to see your friends and the family of the church, then enjoy, and send our love to those whom we won't see. And we'll catch up with you next week. So goodbye from Browns Bay, and stay focused, stay real, and don't focus on the minor issues. Focus on the important things. Unity is an important thing, really, that we are kind to each other, at least, even if we have different views within the Christian faith, and across humanity for that matter. So take care, and bye-bye from Browns Bay. See you again. Bye-bye.